Start the class now. So today we'll be talking about the rest of the transformations in ETL. We'll see all of them, try to go through all of them as much as we can, and plus we'll talk about deduplication, removing duplicates in SSIS package. So I have sent a DDL for table creation and data insertions in our Telegram chat box. If you can download and run that script. So basically, you have to see this table. Okay, so we have this table. It has duplicate data. As you see, 3 rows of number 1 and Tom. Imagine this is just a regular table, and it has maybe like 10 more different other columns. Name, first name, last name, address, phone number, and anything else. But it's possible that the other columns are not duplicated. Only these 2 rows are duplicate. Or maybe some the rest of those columns are also a duplicate for these 3 rows. So depending on a scenario, you have to write a duplication logic for it. So I'm going to ask a question from a class. This is actually an interview question. Usually a starting easy questions usually start from that. How do you remove duplicates? What is the SQL query that to write in order to remove duplicates? Let me start with from let's say Jamile. Can you give me one way how to remove duplicates? One way.
With distinct?
Yes, this is method 1. Yes, true. Method number 1, using distinct. Distinct start from this table. Very easy solution. We'll do that in ETL using transformations. So this will give us 3. But this doesn't work. When this doesn't work? When you have, let's say, another column. For example, your data is looks like that, and you have another column, Tom, but the other column has a date time column values, and for these 3 rows, that date time value might be different. In that case, this distinct is not going to work. Distinct will work only with true duplicate data. Let's say, for example, let me actually. We have talked about it. You guys already know what is a true duplicate, what is a partial duplicate. You have to remember that. So this is method number 1. What is the method number 2? Now another method in T-SQL. So when you are asked this question, how to remove duplicates, you have to give say that there are a lot of ways of doing it. If it's just an easy scenario, which is in this case, it's a true duplicate, we use distinct clause. That's it. It will take care of it. What is the second way? Okay, Davron, what do you think? Davron, what do you think? What is the second way of removing this duplicates? Any ideas?
Windows function, we can put row numbers, for example, and then
that's
yeah.
Group by?
Group by? Who said the group by?
I said Mohammed.
Muhammad, is it you?
Yes.
This the second one. The answer I was expecting is the group by actually. Row number is the best method. It's the best method, but row number you don't want to use for this kind of scenarios. This is very easy scenario. If you had, let's say, partial duplication, which is let's say there's extra columns and those values for this 3 row are different. In that case, you have to use row numbers, put it into CTE, and say that give me the row number #1. That's the best way. That's the one that you have to mention. You have to say that if there is a duplicate data in my source, if the like if my table, if the data is not true duplicate, if there are some rows that makes them unique, in that case, I will use CTE with row number, and I will get the row number equal 1 is the my like I will get that to get the unique list. If it's true duplicates like this, I will use just the group by. So it's gonna be select star, not star, of course. We have to give the name.
But it requires having, right? You know.
In this case, no, it does not even require. That's it. You do like this, and you will get the list. You can do the having and some other idea, you know, like some other logic, but this is not. This is just a very easy scenario. This is true duplicates. Every row is same, like you know, identical. So this scenario, it can be easily done with a distinct and with this. But what if this is just getting unique list of records? That's what you need to do in this case. Or the method number 3 we're not going to use. It's going to be somewhere. It's going to be something like CT with or subquery, whatever you use, with row number. That's the best way. But there's another question. It's possible that filter out duplicate rows, duplicated data. So meaning this, everything should be removed from this list. I want to see only this two. So in ETL, you may do that because what you need to do is you will send this data into different branch and you do extra logic on that, extra work on that. Like you figure out then you may load this data into different table and then do some cleaning. And then from there, you can get the list of the unique, maybe, you know, in that case, the question is filter out duplicate data. This case scenario is going to be probably some like this one is going to be fine for that. So we will use having count star not equal. Where is that? Not equal 1. So if it's not equal to no, actually I need the ones that are equal in this case. There you go. Another in our ETL branch, we'll have another branch. ETL package will have another branch for this one, for this scenario. So
Can we use?
Yes.
Yes. Can we use rank function here as well?
Yeah, of course. Like one of the window functions you use, you can use the rank function too. So what you do is you will create some kind of CTE, and then you will write your logic here inside your logic, and that will have probably like some kind of a window function. It can be your and then you do select, and then in your where class, window function, let's say you will call it like a row number, rn. It can be any function that you use. Rn bigger than 1. So that means that that's your duplicate. Or you can say where you can use this select statement saying that show me the rows that are show me the rows that does not exist in this list. You can use this in the subquery. If you do like this, you will get the unique list. If you do like this, you will get the rows that have duplicate values. You know, you have to revise this because it's such an easy interview question. Such an easy interview question, but it's very, very popular interview question. People who don't know really good, like a SQL really good, but they're hiring people usually, they may just ask this question only. It's possible that you'll get a job with this question if you get lucky. But this is gonna be one of the easiest, easier startup. Like if you if they ask you 4 questions, this will be probably number 1. If they ask you 4 or 3, then usually they don't ask like 20 questions. Usually they ask from 3 to 5 maximum. So this will be the easiest starting one. All right. So
Adam, can I ask a question?
yes.
So in the above case, one of having count equal to 1 gives only the non-duplicate values, and the one below gives only non-duplicate ones. Yeah, the duplicate ones. Yeah. So are we supposed to use union in between to give the distinct values of each row? Because it is not a whole table now. That does not really answer the question.
So if you want whole table, use this logic. Don't use the having clause. That's what we'll do right now. We'll do first these 2 scenarios, which will give you like this. We'll give you the unique list of records.
Unique ones. Mhm.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Thank
In
you.
this case, yeah, like sometimes you have to divide this data, one branch duplicated data, one branch non-duplicated data. So in the duplicated data, you will do extra cleaning there. It's possible, whatever the logic is, it's possible. So let's see those in a SSIS package, how that works. Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
No problem. All right. So let's create package for that. Duplicates. Okay. So again, we have to open this package. Where's this toolbox? Okay, so it's toolbox, and I'll create the data flow task, which is ETL, and I'm gonna do the E part, which is OLEDB source. In OLEDB source, I'm gonna create another connection, and that's gonna be right here. And the table is what was the table again? Duplicated source. Okay. What are our choices when we clean duplicate data or among transformations? There's 2 things that you can use here. One way is the sort transformation. I know sort transformation is used for sorting, but you can use it. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use multicast because with one source, I want to show all the different ways that we can do that. There you go. Sort. In the sort, what you do, you select all the columns you need, and you have to select this button. That's it. Remove rows with duplicate sort values. That's it. So this is doing select distinct. When you do select distinct, the distinct what it does is behind the scene, it sorts the data, and when it sorts data, it will see unique. It will see the true duplicates. When it sorts data like this, database will easily say, okay, so these 3 rows are storing exact same values. When you do distinct, it will just remove and show you the unique value. It's the same logic in here as well. Like when you do sorting, it can SSIS engine can see the duplicated values, and it can get rid of them. This is one way. So we can actually use, for example, derived column as well. Like So if you don't want to write the table into destination, we were using multicast, but let's see, derived column is also possible. All right, and let's see the result. And the result is looking good. Blair, Sally, Tom, and the data is sorted by the name first. Sorting, we chose the name as first, but you can actually say this is 2, and this one is number 1, and it will be like, sort order will be changing. So this is one way is sort operator. Another one is the one that we already used is the aggregate function. Aggregate function is a group by statement. In the group by statement, you write this query. Group by this column, and those grouped columns will come here, and it will give you the whole distinct list of the unique records. So here, what you will do, I want to group with both columns, and they're going to be part of group by. They're not going to be count, distinct, average, not like that. It's just group by. That's it. And again, I'm going to disable this one now because we already saw that. This one is enough. Here you go. And this is not even correctly sorted, but at least it's grouped, and we are seeing 3 rows, which is it's removing duplicates. So another way is there's a third way, which is going to be I need also aggregate transformation for it. But in this case, what I will do is I'm going to do this thing. I will separate duplicate data into different branch and the rest different branch. And at this point, probably you've already understood the logic that I'm supposed to do. And here you go. And I'll also do the count star in one column, and it's going to be count all. Count all. There we go. I selected this column, and operation, the function that it's using, it's going to be the count all. All right. And here, after that, I'm going to use the split, conditional split, because I have to split duplicated data and non-duplicated data. For that, I need to write this part of the query, where count star equal to 1. I calculated the count star. I have that column now. Just I have to say equal 1. For that expression, for that where clause, we can actually use conditional split, and here is our logic. So we'll say, is it equal to 1? In that case, we have to say this is unique, non-duplicate, non-dupes. But this, the rest, if it's not equal to 1, then they are dupes. Say okay. Says that that's the data type is not count. Is not the right data type. So okay, so we're gonna change this one to typecast, and we'll bring this here and say okay. I'm gonna remove this, disable this data viewer. Instead, I'm gonna we have 2 splits now. I'm gonna see the non-duplicates first, duplicates second, okay, and all I have to do is now implement data viewers so that I see what's going on. Okay. There you go. And so as you guys were saying, this is conditional split. It splits the data, right? So it splits the data into one direction. So what you can do now in this case, let's say you have to do further cleaning. You can like Jamile was suggesting, you can actually do this. You bring here, data here, and still you have another branch here to do cleaning further, cleaning on your data. But here you built your data. You built your table, which is you bringing both of the data into one column, and then from here you can continue doing your cleaning. You know, like you will achieve. Try to say is so if you run them separately, they come together, but you do union all, and then you see them together. So this is what's happening. So this branch will create them as union all, but you already have this branch. You already know where the bad data is, and then you can do extra work using this branch. You can do extra work on it, figure out why this is bad, why this is duplicated, what should I do, what should, to prevent this type of scenario, whatever, you know, like you can load this data somewhere else. You can do a lot of things, but the purpose of my purpose to demonstrate here is there's two options that we chose with the three ways we use, but there's two options. So sort and aggregate are used to remove the duplicate, but if you want to branch out, you can, if the data into different branches based on are they duplicate or non-duplicate, you can use this logic. This is how it's done in the SSIS. But there's a catch. Never do this. Never, ever, ever do this if you don't need to do that. Why? Removing duplicate is not SSIS job. It's not something that you need to do in your SSIS packages. So let's say if you are using a relational database, remove duplicates in your source query. If you are not using, if you're getting data from, let's say, if you are getting data from thread files, Excel files, load your data into destination which is going to be a relational database. Remove those duplicates there. If it's you are taking data from flat file and writing into flat file, in that case, yes, you may do that. You may write this logic, and you have to do that in that case. But the problem is this sort transformation, aggregate transformation, they are horrible, terrible transformations. Not because they do the job incorrectly, they do the job exactly what they're supposed to do. But the idea of sorting and aggregation, if you think about it, how it works is, in order to sort data and to find duplicate data, what you need to do is, you have to grab all the data into memory first. You have to grab all the data into memory. What is it called? Object source. It says it doesn't exist. Okay, so you cannot find duplicates just looking at one row, two row. If you look like this, you will find this is a duplicate, but you will miss this one. So if you remove this one, you will still have two rows. So to find everything, you have to put everything into memory first and do the operation. After that, you can produce this result. You know, this process, sort and aggregate transformations, they are extremely expensive operations. They use memory buffer a lot. They put all the incoming data into their memory, and they block the whole process. Everything will be waiting for them till they do their job, and then they return the data. So these transformations are extremely horrible, terrible transformations. You have to be careful using them. And I have a list. I have give you guys the list of the transformations in on our chat. There's a PowerPoint box. I basically got this data from your book. You can read the same material from your book, but basically let's open and look at this PowerPoint presentation, which has only 1 or 2 slides, but this is very important stuff. Absolutely, it's going to be one of the interview questions. If someone doesn't ask, it can be, you have to know this, you know. This is the material that you're supposed to know. So synchronous, and asynchronous transformations. You will be asked, what is the difference between synchronous and asynchronous transformations? Synchronous means they are non-blocking transformations. They happen like everything like flows of, so when you use synchronous transformations, so data, what happens is one row will flow in, that row will flow out. The next row, you know, they will be coming and go out, go in, go out, go in and go out. But asynchronous everything will come in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 until everything loads. It waits. It will grab the all 1,000 rows, let's say, and then it will release that 1,000 rows here. As synchronous, it's not like this. Every one of those 1,000, however the batch will come, it just comes in and leaves. So transformations can be synchronous, asynchronous. So synchronous transformations, the source row flow into memory buffers in transformation, which is, this is the transformation. So source row will flow in when it's a synchronous transformation. And the same buffer comes out. Let's say if it's 10 rows coming in, it's not gonna wait till the next bus. That bus of data will come in, do the transformation and leave. The next one will come in. Asynchronous, it works differently. Like I said, everything should come in, and then finally, when everybody is here, they do the transformation, and then they release everyone at one time. So this is source rows. So no rows are held in memory. They come in and leave. This is very quick transformation. It impacts your system minimally. And ideally, you have to try to use only synchronous transformations, and you have to do your best not to use asynchronous transformations. If you have to use them, you have to have a good excuse for it. In your architect, in your design, in your system, whatever the file source, whatever destination, your scenario will dictate for the need for asynchronous transformations. What happens is, they cause a block in your data flow task. In your package, there will be blockage. So this will slow down your runtime operation. It may slow down as much as your package will never come back if it works with millions and millions of rows. So there are also two levels of asynchronous transformations. Some are partially blocking. They are fine. They're kind of fine. What happens is they will receive a bunch of records, and then they release. You know, like they receive the second batch, and then they release. So they work with the bigger batches, but still they are not gonna hold everyone, wait for everyone, every last person, and then do the operation. They're still better than fully blocking transformations. Partially blocking transformation example is UniNull. It's also not really great, but this is how it can work. You know the idea. Fully blocking is sort and aggregate. They create a big buffer of memory, and they block every other work is going on before them, after them. They're gonna be stopping for them. And then in order to sort data, SSIS must first see every single row of the data. It should see every single row, and then it's gonna start working. So fully blocking transformations slows your package. They should be considered before blocking. So imagine this is your buffer. So one block will come in and leave. That's synchronous. But asynchronous, it will wait all blocks. It will put it into the buffer. If buffer gets full, that's it. Your runtime is full. Your package will fail. That's it. It's not gonna run. So that you need like a bigger memory, better machines, better equipment, better stuff, or you have to somehow decrease the number of batches that you're working on. The data that you are extracting, you have to make it slower, or you just don't use the blocking transformation. So you don't have much choices. Synchronous transformations, stuff that you have to use is audit, character map, conditional split, all the stuff that we have seen or we haven't seen, we'll see them today. Asynchronous stuff that's partially blocking, we already saw the merge, join, and union all out of them, but the rest, you don't need them. Data mining query, if you use analysis services, that's when you use it. Pivot and pivot, don't pivot data in SSIs. Do it in a relational database. That's just not the best way of using that kind of stuff. If it's small set of data, pivot and pivot will be super fast. You have no problem. But if you have a lot of rows, don't do that. Term lookup is different lookup. It's just a looks up for certain stuff. It's just for when you're doing some data analysis, data mining, like when you try to understand some data, then you will use it. But usually, I've never used it. You're not gonna use it. I'm sure. The fully blocking ones, the worst ones, aggregate and sort, how we deleted duplicates. So don't do data duplication in your ETL package. Do it at your source query. When you're writing a store procedure or whatever the source query, do it there. And then fuzzy grouping is also aggregate transformation, but it groups, for example, instead of US grouping by USA, it groups by US. If you have data that's USC, USA, USB, all of them it can be considered as one group, you know. So it's like a grouping data, but your criteria is not strict. You have like loose criteria. Whatever, if it starts like this, just group them. Think them as one group. Fuzzy lookup is also similar like that, you know. This stuff that you're not going to use it a lot. You just do when you do data analysis, you know, like data mining, and try to understand when you have a bad data, you want to make sense of it, what kind of stuff that you're dealing with. You may use this stuff, but usually for regular ETL packages, they're not usually used. Row sampling is also you get like a sample of rows and then see what kind of data you're dealing with, stuff like that. Don't use SSIS package to do data analysis, you know, like you can write direct queries there and stuff like that. So this is the stuff. The good thing is the ones are not that you usually use. Those are the ones that you usually use.
How about union? Union is also asynchronous, right?
Union, I believe it works. Union, yes, but what do you mean by union?
I mean, this is union all, right? There is also
yes. It's synchronous, but you have to use it. You know, like you don't have any more chance, like choice. So you have to use it, and there's no the process of unioning. It depends on you know, like it gets certain data from this table, certain data waits till all the data like it comes in. This is how it works, and you have no choice. When you have a choice between merge join and union all, you have to use union all, because merge join will require you to use this aggregate and sort. Union all will not. So in that sense, union all is better than merge join. Because when you use merge join, if the data is not sorted, you have to use this. So this will, even by itself, merge join is not partially blocking. It will use blocking stuff. So merge join also kind of becomes fully blocking at that moment. Union all is not like that. It's much better option.
I see. Thank you.
So no problem. So try to understand this, try to memorize it, and be able to describe and explain. Today we had an interview, a guy, one of the students. It was she actually. When I'm saying guy, so she did. She had difficulty to explain lookup transformation. We talked about lookup transformation yesterday. The guy on the interview question, it was the job at the Californian company. So his question was like this: what is the problems with lookup transformation? So the first question starts like this: what are lookup transformation uses caches? So what are different caching methods that it uses? So the girl that on the interview, she was not even able to remember 3 types of caches, which is, can you guys tell by memory? Who can remember by memory? 3 ways of caching for the lookup.
No cache.
Exactly. She was not able to remember those. Full cache, partial cache, no cache. And he was asking the question. So the second question he asked is, what is the problem with full cache? Full cache will put a lot of data into memory, and it's gonna be case sensitive. It will have problem with nulls, and also in general, lookup has a problem with like if you have a duplicate stuff at the source. It will just find match for the first one. It skips the rest, stuff like that. She was not able to mention them, and that was actually the toughest, the hardest ETL question for her. If she would have been able to answer them, she would pass. So my point is, you might be able to build ETL packages. Anytime you can open YouTube and Google and build your ETL packages. I'm sure all of you can do this job. It's going to be easy. But passing the interview will require you to be able to explain, describe. So that's why you have to focus not only for learning, also you have to focus to memorize the most important parts. That's why I'm trying to put in some form of presentation so that you have the narrative. This you have to remember. You have to be able to talk about them. Interview is the guys who are writing really strong SQL. If they lack at description, if they cannot describe really well, they're not going to pass the interview. Sad part of it is you guys are really strong ETL, like a BI developer. Like you guys are really good. If you start working, you will be one of the great assets for those companies. You have really good skills. You can easily learn and become really good team member. But the problem is you cannot pass the interview because of this bullshit part. You have to, kind of be able to describe stuff. So also spend time on learning plus explaining, like prepare speech and memorize a speech. If they ask you about synchronous and asynchronous transformations, be able to describe them, difference, and be able to give some examples for them. This is for partially blocking, a union all and merge join. For fully blocking, aggregate and sort. For synchronous, derived column transformation, lookup, for example, conditional split. They are asynchronous. Data comes in and leaves. Asynchronous, all data has to come into the buffer first, and then the stuff happens. And asynchronous also divides into 2, partially, fully. That's it. 5, 6 sentences, probably you passed half of your ETL package question, if you will be able to say that. Okay, so pay attention to this, try to go over that. We learned what how to remove the duplicate, but also I've sent you guys the table DDL, the one that we already done. It was actually a Google question, finding solution with the easiest way, which was grouped by and having count distinct equal to 1. That we try to achieve the same thing using SSIS package today. Let me actually remind what it is. So it was, I think, person table, I believe. There's a person, so he has the parent has, we have to find the parent that has both gender childs. So the solution we have to create with SSIS is group by parent. That query we have to write using SSIS package right now, and hopefully you guys will help me to achieve this. From this, we have to find the one that has both male and female. C has female and male, A has female and male. So we have to get only A and C in our result, A and C. What did I type here? Okay, so that's what we need to do. New package, rename, query. Person table. So now you guys need to help me. What do I need to do now to achieve that result? You guys already know already. You already have the. You already know the solution. What should I use? What do you think? What is suggestion? I'm bringing data is like this right now. In the query, what I'm doing, first, I have this part already. When I did the select star from the source, this is the source. I did this part already. I already have this. Now what do I need to do? What I'm doing group by, right? And so I have to do the aggregate part. Okay. So here, so I'm gonna group by parent, right? Because in our query we are grouping by parent. And let's do some counts now. So I'm gonna count child. How do I need to count it? Count this thing, right? I have group by clause, and I have this, not the having. The having is basically in the where clause. With the where clause, I'm gonna use something else for the where clause, having clause. This clause also I can create with the help of aggregate transformation, which is this, count this thing. Also, I want to include this too. It will do count all from the whole table. Count all. It's going to be one extra column. So it will count everything for the group, for the parent. To know the difference, count star, that's what I added. And there's also count distinct this column. They usually produce different results. So therefore, A, it has 5 rows, but it has 2 different genders listed. For C, it has 2 rows, 2 listed. gonna look like this. A has 5 rows, 2 genders, 2 distinct genders. So I'm in my ETL package. What I'm doing is I'm grouping by parent, getting star, count star, and also count distinct. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to write this part, which I have to create 2 different branches. One branch I want to keep this good data. On the other branch, I have to be able to get the rest of the data. What is the logic I have to use here? What is the transformation that I have to use here?
Conditional split?
Exactly. Exactly. Conditional split works like exactly like a where clause, like a case statement is another good way of explaining. So basically, it will create 2 different branches for you. For your 2, you can create as many as logic you can write here. You can have 100 branches, but right now what I need to do is actually I didn't name them correctly. I should name them. This one is not. It's count, right? Or child count. That's what it is. That's what I need. But you can also create another logic as well. Like you will have as many logic as you want, and the data will be branched out to those branches. So I'm not gonna do that. What I will do is I'm gonna use this only, and this should equal to 2. Because my query says it should be equal to 2. If the child count, which is the distinct count, equal to 2, so in that case, this branch will be called both genders. Everything else I want to call one gender. Right. Okay. And now, so let's first see what is going on. On this side, I want to see both genders. Options. And so this is one branch here. The second branch is here. A and C has like a count. This thing is giving us 2. This one is coming, and it's working exactly like the one that we wrote to query, and this is the one that we needed to achieve, right? Let's do some extra work. Let's say we want to write this data into some kind of a SQL table, and we want to write some extra information there as well. And this one, we want to extract this as bad data. We want to put this bad data, let's say, into some Excel destination. I'm gonna remove this part. But while capturing this data, I also want to capture some audit information, and there's an audit transformation for that. I'm gonna grab that, and that's gonna be both gender branch. Okay, and in the audit, there are some really good system informations that you can capture about this package, environment, all this stuff. So you can get, let's say, package name and the machine name, for example, username, task name that you are using in the step, or whatever the step, like stuff like that. So really good information you can capture, and you want to write some of that into your destination as well. For the one that is going to Excel destination, you don't need to, let's say, and will be Excel destination. This one is gonna be written to a database from inside of your ETL package, which is extract transform load. If you want to write T-SQL query, you have to use OLEDB command transformation. OLEDB command is T-SQL command. So if you want to write some T-SQL, which is going to be mostly this T-SQL will be if you want to update something, if you want to insert something, delete something, you can do that. First, that's actually what I want to write. I want to create table here. This will be TBL audit, let's say. TBL audit. I will have parent. Parent will be child count, right? It's going to be the child count integer. And then let's say package name. I want to capture this information to this table. Create it. And go back here. So it has some menu items. Hopefully this one you already know what it is. It's advanced editor. Column mapping is you have to map it. This is where you write your query. First, you have to start this connection manager, right? You have to connect to a database that where you want to write. Usually, this ETL connection will give you this connection manager. This is where we are, but this is the connection manager I have right now. I have to create more connection managers if I need to different one for this one. You will get this one here. And then right here, you will write your command right here. This is your SQL editor. But writing here, you can make a lot of syntax problems, the errors. So to do that, so not to do that, let's write our TBL audit table. I'm going to right click script table, insert a statement. That's what that's what I need into clipboard. Okay. I'm going to put it here. So it created insert statement for me. Instead, I will not gonna use that. This part is not necessary. That's what you need to do. Basically, with SSIS, you will be doing this a lot. If you want to write SQL query, you have to kind of give the column values here, right? So in SSIS, you're not gonna give the column values, you put question marks. And then there's another window where you will specify those column values. So this one, usually this one will be 0, the location 0, so index 0. This one will be 1, and this one will be 2, index. So the location of it. Yeah, it's using behind the scene. SSIS is using the Microsoft programming language C# or Visual Basic. Their indexing works exactly like this. So this is how you need to write your query. This is your insert statement. Come here and you put your insert statement. I didn't insert statement right now, right? I didn't do anything yet. When you come here, oh, I didn't even write anything. So I did the connection, but you see nothing to be to do column mapping. When you write your query, if it parsed correctly, here you go. Now the column names are coming. So like I said, parameter 0 means the first item on your list. First item, this list is here. On your first list, what do you have? You have parent. Second is child. So in C#, first starts as a 0. Index starts from 0. So parent should be, you can do from here if you want. And you can drag it and just like that, or you can select from here for the child count, do that, and then package name, you select like that. Hopefully the data types will be correct. Column pick parameter 2 cannot convert Unicode to non-Unicode string. Okay, so the audit information that was system information from SSIS, it's stored in Unicode data type. So I have to transform that to different data type. Let's do that. Data conversion is the easiest, shortest way. Package name should be string, not W string, not Unicode, but not non-Unicode. So what is it called now? Copy of package name, or I have to just do the mapping correctly, which is number 3. So I'm going to go like this. That's it. I wrote this part. Before the data comes here, actually, you know what? I can see the data at the destination too. And here I have to do I have to write this into Excel. Let's see how it works. So we have to create new connection. New connection means I have to browse somewhere. Let's say this is class number 5 today. What I'm doing is I just navigated to the folder that I want to create the Excel sheet when this ETL package runs. So when you are in that folder, give a name to your new package. So it's going to be that data, let's say. That data. And then the data, just to make sure that I'm putting into correct format, I also say XLS. XLSX will create the newer version, so I don't want that. That's why I typed. Otherwise, you don't really have to. So say OK. After you say again OK, right here you have to select the what happened? Manager. Oh, you have to say new here, and it will create the Excel sheet for you. Say OK, and right here, select the one who has a $sign. That's the page that you need to write. Say OK. That's it. But you still have an issue here. You still have. Okay, this was another question today. I just remembered. What is the problem with Excel source when we worked? That was the question he asked. Every time you get data from Excel, what kind of problem you usually encounter? Who knows the answer? You already have worked with Excel source, right? You guys have created ETL package.
Oh, we need to go project and properties and change the 64.
Yes, that's true, but that usually like DBAs will create the correct installation, and you don't have to do that in production. They will do that part. They give you the nice, clean, everything working environment, so you just don't have to deal with that stuff. That's the installation configuration stuff. But like ETL logic, when the data comes in, what kind of data will come in from Excel usually? What did you use for your Excel sources? All of you, always.
Data types?
You are correct, but can you mention what data type was it that was having problem?
Unicode, right?
Unicode, exactly.
Yes.
The data is coming in Unicode. Excel will any data that comes from Excel will be in Unicode. Will be NVARCHAR is another way of calling it. So this is basically Unicode for NVARCHAR destination. That was the interview question, where he was saying, okay, I shouldn't be using that special characters when naming it. So Unicode or NVARCHAR destination. Okay, so source, same thing. When you get data from Excel source, it will come in Unicode. Here it's complaining that the gender, whatever data is coming in, the data is not in Unicode. That's what it's saying. So mapping, parent, child, count all, everything is coming like that. But the problem is parent is coming in is a 1252 code page, which is non-Unicode data. And child count is number, so it's not varchar, non-varchar, it doesn't care, it's just the numeric data. Count all is coming from SSI's package system environment. It's coming in a Unicode, so it's not I'm using count all in this case. Okay, all right, it's also number, but here that's parent, that's coming as a Unicode, non-Unicode information. So I have to do another data conversion here as well. I have to put the data in the correct, not the error button, but this one. And I have to do the mapping. Call it differently. No, I haven't even done anything. Parent, copy of parent, and string should be WS string, Unicode string. Okay, and I am going to run this package. Everything worked perfectly fine. 2 rows came here, 2 rows came there. Those 2 rows are the parents that have 2 child, and this one has those 2 rows that has no child. So okay, let's see what's happening. If I come to this my ETL package file folder, I have this bed data, and this is the data that it wrote. Okay, Excel destination, that's how it created. We could have configured that part. And when we come here, we have to select from this table. And this is the name of the query. 5 query is that's why we renamed it, and A and C was the parents that we chose. So basically, if you want to write T-SQL queries inside of your ETL package, the T-SQL queries that you usually write, you write DML statements, update, insert, and delete. That's the stuff that you usually do. If you want to do that, you can use OLEDB transformation. And OLEDB transformation, by default, if you open this is also part of asynchronous transformations. This is also synchronous it's good transformation. But it's all of them are not really good stuff. Like the problem with it is, yes, data flows in and flows out as it comes in, comes out. But the problem is when you write T-SQL queries, you actually don't like that idea, because it's kind of very similar to row by row operation. Data comes in, writes the insert, comes in, insert. So if let's say 500 million rows of data come in that case, 500 million data. Well, in this case, we did grouping. Everything was handled at one time. That's why we wrote really good query, 2 rows. But if it was the different scenario, let's say as soon as the data, if you put this OLEDB command right after this, you connect to this right after this, every row coming in will send that insert statement separately. If you have million rows, it will send it million times. So it's what happens in that case is, in your database, you're logging the LDF, log data file will be increasing. you will get a lot of logs because, you know, like insert, update, deletes, they do have logging. And also when you do write inserts, you may be locking that table. Locking is also bad. It will it's bad for the performance of your database. Also, every insert happening 100,000 times, million times, it's a slow operation. So even though this is a synchronous transformation, but the job that it's doing inside the database is not a good job. So you should not write OLEDB command. If there's a better way, you should do it. And that's going to be the focus of next class. What you can do is actually, there's a separate task, which is very famous, execute SQL task. This execute SQL task you should use instead of using the data flow task OLEDB SQL command. We will be using some others in the different scenarios. It will come up. We'll see how to implement that as well. That will do set-based operation usually, and we'll go for that. So also there are some other transformations going on here. So aggregate transformations, we saw that. Data distribution, this is data analysis. You're not going to use this much. Conditional split, we saw that. Data conversion, derived column, lookup, we saw that. Merge join, we saw that difference. Multicast, it's just basically gives the data, distributes the data into different branches. OLEDB command is it says run SQL statements for each row in a data flow. For each row in a data flow, so it's kind of row-based operation. Row count is it's another scenario that you can the data that's coming in, like we used already audit transformation, right? This is also used for auditing purposes. So let's say how many rows flowing in. In this case, we use the aggregate functions count star. But if you don't want to do the aggregate transformation, you can do the row count transformation. Let's look at the row count transformation. And this is should be somewhere here, I believe. Row count. There you go. So it's good because what it does is data flows in, it starts counting 1, data 2, data 3, 4, 5. So aggregate transformation will take all data into a buffer and then it starts counting. It's just basically row count will be counting every data that's passing. So it will count how many data passed from this flow and it went here. That's what it is. Let's actually see an example for that. I'm going to close this one. This will be, let's say, a demo package. In this package, let's say we want to get data, some kind of any kind of data. Source. That should work fine, and we have like 5 rows, right? So that's what if you want to count this, all you need to do, you have to use the row count transformation. It basically counts how many data flew from here to the next for the next step. Let's not union all, but multicast. Here's the problem, not problem. With the row count, you need a you need variable. So let's create a variable. You want to create a variable, you have to basically select this, and right here again select right here, and then you have to give it a variable. So we will call this row row count. Let's say row count. Row count, and it's integer 32 is basically the other it's the data types are a little bit different than the you saw SSIS data types. It's confusing, I know, but it variables have different data types. It has to do with the programming language that you do the data definition. It has to be related to that, but basically integer 32 is equivalent to the ID4 that SSIS has. That's the one. That's the regular one. So I have created the variable. You have to give that variable name to this, because when it counts data, it will write to that variable that we just created. That's all it does. Now the problem is seeing the variable. You cannot see that with the help of data viewer, right? When you go here, all your choices are, you have ID and name, so that's coming, but you don't have the row count stuff. So for that, what you need to do is you have to write, let's say C#, and I have given you guys a class video to watch, and that will give you a C# transformation that C# task where it shows exactly this thing, like when you create a variable, you want to see that value. That's you can watch that. I'm gonna show you a different way, which is actually an interview question as well. If you, let's say, if you're debugging your package, you want to see the value of your variable. Yes, you can create C# script, but there's already built-in stuff in your ETL. What is that way? Like, you have to be able to explain that. So for that, what you need to do, you have to come here and you have to edit breakpoints. Like, you have to create a pause, like a stopping point for your troubleshooting. Breakpoints are used for troubleshooting purposes, and we'll divide one class for troubleshooting, and I will show you guys more. We will talk about breakpoints more, but basically breakpoints is a break. It's a stopping point. So I'm going to use this on post execute, meaning when this task executes, stop there. Don't finish everything, just stop there. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and I will start executing. When I start executing, okay, without let's not start. Let's first not start. If you look at the debug windows, there's nothing right now there because the package has not started yet. But when I start package and then I go to debug, go to Windows, I'll have more windows, which is debugging windows, which is when package is running in a debug mode, which when it's running, you have some options that you can use. We'll use watch. Watch option can show you the stuff that you want to see. And in the watch option, you can actually specify the variable that you want to see. So you go to watch one. So to watch one, it doesn't have anything right now. So for that, we have to find it first. Okay, so I have a data viewer. That's why it stopped. So I have to let it go. So now, like, watch window is empty right now. You have to go to locals. Locals, basically your variables. So you have to expand your variables. There are a lot of system variables, very confusing. You can see your variable in this list too. You don't have to put a watch, but this is messy. You see, you don't see much. User count is saying it's 5 rows. Already it's populated. You see it's showing. So if you want to see it separately, just take it, drag it, and put it in watch one. Like that. And here you go. You're seeing that if you are using like containers, which we'll see in the future, like looping containers, it will be looping every time, and this value will be changing. So if you continuously want to see what is your what is the value of your variable, you can actually read what's going on with your package, looking at the output file or the progress file. You will be reading what is happening with your package. At the same time, you will be watching the values of your variable, you know, like it's right now it's 5. Is it true? Let's see. Is it true? Here, 5 rows. 5 rows, that's what it says. And also your variable is saying that. So interview question is it's going to be something like this. Let's say if you are using if you are debugging your package And if you want to see the values of your variable, how do you do that? First choice, you can actually, you say that I usually create a C Sharp like a script component and write the C Sharp code there, and I will create the variable, and it will pop up to the window, like it will pop up right here, and I'll see it. And then you say also it's possible that I can see the same values using when I'm debugging, when the package is in debug mode, we know that locals and watch window will pop up, and we can look at the locals and we can look at the locals window, which will show us the list of the variables, or we can select it and put it into our watch list to see, to debug. So basically, what we're talking about. So there is this transformation, doesn't do much. It's basically, it's good, yes, if you want to know the number of rows that you have passed, and it's good for logging your the information about this package. For example, for this package you can implement logging, and that we'll see soon. So when this package starts, when ends, the time and the number of rows that it read, processed, and the type of errors it saw, warnings and stuff like that, you can actually write them down into, and like you can send an email describing all those things, and sometimes you may use that for that purpose. So this is what it is. So under common, we're looking at the transformations that are really good, helpful transformations, right? That you will be using a lot. So aggregate is good, derived column, merge, row, PolyDB, we saw row, comma, script component. You can write some C sharp code as well, but you don't have to know C sharp. If you learn, just open and start. You don't need to use this transformations. C sharp, write this C sharp code, and everything that these transformations are doing, you can write the code for them. Slowly changing dimension, SCD. It's a separate class. When we do SCD, we will use this to start with, but it's also not really good transformation. But why? Because it makes use of OLEDB command, which is row by row operation, kind of slow. There are better ways of doing it, so I will show this as well. Sort we saw that today in a couple classes. It's blocking transformation. Try not to use it if you can. Union all is used for union. Other transformations, we saw the audit, which will help you to audit, to capture some audit information. Cache transformation. Cache transformation is really, really good if you want to, if you're working with lookup, you need to use the cache transformation. So let's put it over here. So I'm gonna also use a multicast. Multicast. So what it is you will, when you will use it with lookup transformation. It's for lookup. If you remember, at the lookup, there's two types of connection. We were using just direct OLEDB connection, which lookup is directly connecting to a database to take the reference. But and then it's putting everything into memory. What if you have several lookups? So in that case, what you need to do, it has only one branch. So again, we have to use a multicast here. Another lookup, for example. What if you have three lookups that does different type of lookup operations, and all of them puts data into cache, full cache, into memory, full cache, memory, full cache, memory. You're getting me the point, right? And imagine they're all caching the same data. I'm using this somewhere else to do lookup with different table. This is from somewhere else. This is somewhere else, let's say, right? So all of them has to cache the same data. In order to cache the same data, they have to connect to a database 3 times separately, and they have to read 3 times, doing the same operation 3 times. Expensive operation. Reading is happening 3 times. Instead, what you can do is you can create a cache transformation, which will do, what it will do is it's going to basically cache the information for you, and that cache file will be used by this cache connection, like by lookup, but with lookup, instead of using OLEDB connection, it will use a cache connection. For example, if you go here, you have to create a connection here. Connection, you can do direct connection, or you can use a cache file. Let's just skip about the cache file part right now. We'll talk about soon. So columns, you have to say there's a 2 types of ID and name coming. So if you want to use ID for joining, index should be right here 1. The index means which column do you want to join with. That's what it's saying. So you say okay, and you say okay, and then right here, when you come here and you say the cache connection, you have to choose the cache. That's the name of your cache connection. Okay, you come to columns. Now ID is the one that's you're joining, right? There you go. And the name, for example, is the one that you're taking, like you're doing the lookup operation. So you do something like this. The thing is, you are using the same cache 3 times in this package. What if you want to use the same cached information in different lookup packages? Let's say in this one or somewhere else you have a lookup, and you want to use the same thing. It's possible. In this package, it will create that cache, or in this package, when you go to cache connection, right here, cache connection, there's this option. You can use the cache file, and you store it at some kind of a folder, and all of your packages that are using the caching, they can use the same, that cached information, data, and then they will, so basically, instead of touching the same database 3 times, and then in another packages, you may touch the same database 10 times. So you just do the job 1 time, and then they will be using the same thing. You don't have to touch the same database many times. At least it will do the instead it will do the only 1 time. That's what it is. So cache transformation is also really good. You will use it. PDC is awesome. You will use it. PDC is replacement for SCD. It's basically change data capture, and we'll see it. Like we'll talk about it when we talk about incremental loads. That's what we'll use. Slowly changing the dimension, SCD stuff, or we will use also lookup. It's another way you can use lookup for that incremental load as well. We'll talk about it. Character map is very useless. What it does is it's gonna basically it can convert your. I mean, it can. So you come here, and let's say like do like that. But in this case, you're like a name, for example, right? So what you can do lowercase, uppercase, and also you can do some kind of Chinese, Japanese, some kind of a character doing, like you're not going to use this. Very useless. You're not going to use it. Copy column, for example, you want to use the same column several times. You can use that, but instead you can use derived column transformation, achieve the same stuff. You're not going to be very much. It says, for example, create a copy of address column so that it can be cleaned by subsequent transformations, and leave the original column in the for auditing. But you know what? You use the derived column transformation. It's also useless. Data mining query, it's used for SSAS, DQS cleaning, all that stuff. To export column, import column, they're same thing. They do the same thing. Let's say you have storing data about application. An applicant open the application page, and they write about themselves, like first name, last name, social security number, phone number, address, all that, and then they also upload their phones. Their pictures. So picture will be your import column, for example. That will be Another column, picture is different format, right? You cannot store it like as a picture. So you store it, you store the picture in some kind of folder. Here, you will have the direction, like a full path for that picture file. And then for every row, one row will be about Tom, the second one about Sam, third one about Sally. So all of them will have a file path for those pictures. So basically, we're not going to use this a lot too. Like you basically export the pictures to different folder or import those pictures as one separate column, and it can store the picture in some kind of a like a format as well. Not used a lot. Percentage sampling and row sampling, term extraction, term lookup, they're terrible transformations, they're blocking transformations, they're not used a lot. They're used for, again, with the bad data, unstructured data, like a big data, for example, time of stuff. SSIS is not good for that. There are different other tools that are used. SSIS are not used for that. They're created, but they're not going to be used by, believe me. Pivot on pivot, you're not going to do pivot on pivot in your SSIS packages. You can do that at your destination. Even your reporting tools can do that. You don't have to do it in your SSIS package. Basically, there's other transformations, very useless, except you use audit and cache transformation and CDC. Other than that, you're not going to use it. The most important transformations are here. So basically, we have seen all the transformations this week. You already know about all of them. The most important are here. Interview questions, at least one, like they will ask about lookup. Lookup is very popular, but you have seen all of them. Try to memorize the descriptions and their usage. So now, starting from next class, we can actually go out of this data flow and start working in here as well, like in your control flow pane. All right, so this is just a pane. This is just a demo. You don't have to do this as a homework, but 5 query and 5 cleaning dupes. The first 2 packages that we created today, it's going to be part of the homework. You guys have to do this by Monday. If you haven't already submitted, I need to get yesterday classes homeworks plus this as a homework. That's going to be your homework. And also at the beginning of our classes, I am planning to actually talk to you guys about this as well, this folder. Like every day, every time we start the class, I want to start asking questions. Like next class, we can start it like 5 questions in a class. We can actually quickly spend like 5 minutes for that. Ask, and see the response, what they are. Because this is, I collected myself. Like in internet, there are hundreds and hundreds of them. I try to grab from internet whatever I see. This 80, I heard this interview question. These are not like just because I saw it in internet, I'm taking it. No. Yes, in internet, it kind of helped me to remind about those questions. But in real life, I heard this interview questions. They were asked, I can promise. So spend some time, 90%, 95% of them you already know. In the SQL classes, we already seen it. 5%, there's some uncovered material. You have to Google it, that's it. This stuff, useless, because you don't have to know how to do this stuff. For example, the number 80. You have to be able to tell the names of those high availability solutions, say that I know that solutions exist and I can understand application, log shipping, mirroring, clustering, always on works, but I have never worked as a DBA. I have not done it like on a daily basis. If I have to do it, I can do it, but I don't have much real like work experience. That's what I will tell if I have to tell. Like, you know, I've never been DBA. We had DBAs that do that. If I have to do it, anyone can do it. Open the Google, just step-by-step operation. There's no logical thinking here. It's just step-by-step process. Memory-based process. DBA work, most of them are like that. SQL profile, extended events, we didn't see in the class. You can watch basically a video and try to understand what they are, but you have to have one sentence say that this is like a debugging tool that's available in SQL Server. In the newer versions, we have extended events. We have older versions had SQL Profiler. If you want to know what is background information about SQL Server, what kind of queries are being run, you can use SQL Server Profiler or extended events, and they can do the job for you. You know, so don't spend too much explaining half a page of a description. Just 2-3 sentences. In an interview, you have to be able to explain it nicely, like short and nice. So starting from next class, every class, we will start with 5 questions. I will be asking you guys, you should have an answer. So by Monday, I'll ask 5 questions. It could be one of 5 people. I'm gonna select randomly 5 people. You have to have answer for this. If you do that, believe me, you will be after 2 months when you start. You go out for interview. You will be ready. You will be. I promise you.